Good day, everyone. This is Omar Saeed from Saudi Private School. Uh, Today is Saturday, 14th of March, 2020. The subject is ELA. Today, inshallah, we'll be reading and discussing Called Out by Barbara Kingsolver, page 52. If you can kindly open your book and follow with me, page 52, inshallah. Just a quick review of what we have studied before. We learned that on the first page, we learned that this is a science essay by Barbara Kingsolver. However, the author chose not to write, of course it's written with Stephen Hawking. The author chose not to write in scientific language. She used literary devices so that this text can be more accessible to people who are not very scientific or do not have information about science. So on the first page, we learned that she's talking about the spring of 1998, and she was discussing the blooming of the desert in Arizona. And she also told us that this blooming was a very special occasion, and she compared it to Halley's Comet, which is a very rare and once in a lifetime occasion. Today, inshallah, we'll be continuing to read page 52. I hope everyone is ready now, page 52. So, let's read and discuss the first paragraph here.
The first warm days of March appear to call out a kind of miracle here. The explosion of nearly half our desert's flowering species all stirred suddenly into a brief cycle of bloom and death. Actually, though, the call began subtly, much earlier with winter rains and gradually climbing temperatures. The intensity of the floral outcome varies a great deal from one spring to another. That much is obvious to anyone who ventures outdoors at the right time of year and pays attention. But even couch potatoes could not have missed the fact that 1998 was special. Full-color wildflower photos made the front page of every major newspaper in the Southwest.
Yeah.
Our friends from other climes.
So the author here is telling us that this blooming of the 1998 blooming was special. She said it clear here. We learned that from the very first page. And she also told us that it was in the news. So actually the photos from Arizona desert, the blooming Arizona desert, made the front pages of every major newspaper in the Southwest. So why is that? And also look at the use of the word explosion here, because the blooming was in abundance. The blooming was much fascinating than expected. We said that before. Remember when she said they expected gold, but they got platinum. So the first warm days of March appear to call out a kind of miracle. So she is also describing this special occasion as being a miracle, something that's fascinating, something that's so intense, something that so fascinating to ordinary people, even the people who live around the area. Okay, so, and she said that this foliage or this blooming was like an explosion. What do you mean by explosion? Something that happened, something that's really strong and powerful, of nearly half our desert flowering species, all stirred suddenly into a brief cycle of bloom and death. Of course, yeah, you know that flower, because the flowering is when the plant start to produce seeds. So it's a cycle. So once a plant reaches the flowering point, then it produces seeds, then it dies, then the seeds grow again, so it's a cycle. Okay, actually the call begins subtly, much earlier, yeah? Why did it begin much earlier? Because winter comes with rains and gradually climbing temperature. So the temperature starts to warm up a bit. That's when the plants start to bloom and grow. The intensity, again, look at these words, explosion, miracle, intensity. It shows us how this phenomenon was special and was in abundance. Okay, the intensity of the floral outcome varies a great deal from one spring to another. Yeah, but this spring was special, as we said before. So this intensity, all right, this intensity of flowering, of blooming varies like is different from varies or is different from one spring to another. That much is obvious to anyone who ventures outdoor. So anyone who goes outdoors, okay, will see how much plants are blooming there. So, but not only those who are outdoors, even couch potatoes, lazy people who are indoors, domestic people, could not have missed the fact that 1998 was special. In what way? Full color wildflower photos made the front pages. It was in the news everywhere. So even people who are domestic, even people who don't leave home, they know that there was something special that has happened in Arizona. All right. So, let's watch this video and then continue reading and discussing together.
Our friends from other climes couldn't quite make out what the fuss was about. Many people aren't aware that the desert blooms at all, even in a normal year, and few would guess how much effort we devote to waiting and prognosticating. Is this something like Punxsutawney Phil on Groundhog Day? Asked a friend from the East. So the first thing I notice here is that up to now the author has been describing things that are scientific and informative, but now the tone shifts a little into a casual dialogue with her friend.
Yeah, she uses that phrase, what the fuss was about, sort of showing that she gets that most readers won't be from southern Arizona and might not understand the excitement.
Right, and that sets a tone that this isn't going to be dry scientific reading, even though she's describing a pretty rare botanical event.
And I like the way she describes her community here, people waiting and prognosticating. You get the sense that everyone is involved and excited about this.
You do, and I think that by including the friend's question about Groundhog Day, she gives readers a good comparison to this event.
Exactly. In Punxsutawney, people get excited while they wait for the groundhog, and here they get excited waiting for the desert to bloom.
So she goes on, something like that, or the fall color in New England. All winter, the experts take measurements and make forecasts. This year, they predicted gold, but it's already gone platinum. In a spot where you'd expect 100 flowers, we've got 1,000. More kinds than anybody alive has ever seen at once.
So yeah, she's keeping on with this conversational tone, like you're in someone's kitchen talking about desert flowers.
And then she brings in a second comparison, another natural phenomenon, the fall color in New England.
Yeah, she keeps offering up new ways for the reader to relate to this experience. Like here in the fourth sentence, talking about the sheer number of the flowers. She uses another reference. It's already gone platinum.
Right, and that's a comparison to the way the music industry measures sales. Gold is a lot, but platinum is way more.
Right, and then after making these comparisons, she gives you some real numbers.
Yep, where you'd expect 100 flowers, we've got 1,000. That really gives a sense of scale.
Yeah, it's more flowers than anybody alive has ever seen at once. That sounds pretty incredible. Now I want to know more about it.
Yeah, to me that anybody alive really stands out. You can't even ask around and find someone who's seen this before.
Yeah, earlier she called it the Halley's Comet of desert wildflowers, so that is pretty rare.
So again, actually King Solva is still telling us about the amount of fascination that everybody got from this event in 1998 spring. So she said that our friends from other climes, what do you mean by our friends from other climes? She's speaking about people who are from, yes, very good. What does climb mean? So you got it, very good. So it's climate area, so from other area who are not from a desert area like us here in Arizona, as if she's saying that, of course. Anyway, so our friends from other climes could not quite make out, could not quite understand, could not quite get their head round what the fuss was about. Of course, she's using casual language again. What the fuss is about? So what does the word fuss here mean? The word fuss, if we go to our dictionary here, so what does the word fuss and in what context is it used? So the word fuss, so a lot of unnecessary worry or excitement. So we are talking about excitement here. A lot of unnecessary excitement because people from other climes do not understand why are we making this fuss or why are we so excited about what happened. It's only rain and plants have grown. Actually, because they are not from the desert, they do not understand how important this occasion is for the people in the desert. We can relate to because we live in a desert climate here in Saudi Arabia. So how do you think the people feel when it rains here? Yes, they feel wonderful. They feel great, right? But people who are used to rain all year round, how are they going to feel it if it rains? Maybe they are going to get even depressed in some countries because with rain it becomes cloudy, the sun disappears for a long time, so they may become even depressed. But for us, this is rain, and it comes with blessing from Allah Azza wa Jal. Okay, anyway, so many people aren't aware that the desert blue. Yeah, because they don't understand. I told you, they are not from the area. They don't understand what goes on in the area. They don't even know that we spend days, people in the desert, even here in Saudi Arabia, we spend days and days trying to prognosticate. What does prognosticate mean? Yeah, prognosticate the weather. If you try to prognosticate, oh, what's the weather gonna be? I wonder. What's the weather is gonna be like tomorrow? Yeah, you got it. Very good. So prognosticate is forecast or predict or try to tell what will happen in the future. So they don't know what is it like here. They don't know that every year, every day, and every season we spend much effort. We spend or we devote much, we give time, of course, and effort, okay, to waiting and prognosticating. Prognosticating what? Prognosticating what? The rain, of course. Is this something like Pakistani film, Groundhog Day? So this this is like a kind of traditional event in this village, and of course they have a kind of Groundhog Day when they actually I have a video that shows you what is it like. So let's go online together and see what happens in this event. Okay, so this is the video I'm looking for. So actually this is a kind of tradition in this village or in this town.
Is a very, very interesting holiday. The first thing you have to do is understand that it is all about having a good time. Place on the ground of inner circle Phil's Protector consists of 15 who make a living in the surrounding area and have a very strong interest in the legend of Bugs Phil. We wear the tuxedo, the top hat, in recognition of Phil as the king of.
So this is like a tradition when formers of this town or the head of this town start to have an event or to hold an event where when they have this groundhog and they try to predict for them by drawing, of course, a slip of paper, all right, predict for them what the weather is going to be like. Is spring coming early or is it not going to come early? Of course. The early coming of the spring means what? Yeah, it means good harvest, of course, and warm weather, all right?
All weather problems. Members of the inner circle, to the best of my knowledge, have always had nicknames. Some of the nicknames: Stumpwood, Skypack, Thunder Conductor, Big Chill, Cold Front, Moonshine, Ozone.
Between the two of us, we see Punxsutawney Phil 365 days a year. We're charged with his care and feeding.
Phil's an herbivore, so in the wild he would eat mostly greens and grasses, some fruits that would be available to him from farms or gardens or natural in the wild. And some kale. Phil's favorite food is a banana, which is odd. He would never get that in the wild, but he loves it in captivity. Phyllis is Phil's wife. She lives here with.
So let's get straight to see what happens in this day here. What happens is,
And he tells me in his own little winks, blinks, snorts, grunts, if yes, there is a shadow or no, there isn't a shadow.
And there is a scroll for another.
so what happens here is they hold up the groundhog and ask him to
We spring, and there is a scroll.
choose one of the slips here.
These are some of the
Yeah.
past scrolls.
This is a kind of
I
tradition, as I
believe
told
that
you.
Phil is not.
Anyway, let's not take much time discussing this. So, yeah, now she's making another comparison here between this special day and Punxsutawney Phil Groundhog Day. No, but she says, no, it's nothing like that. It's nothing like that. Yeah, it can be predicting about the weather and stuff because everybody in the deserts is like that, but this occasion is so special. All right, so we are talking about the fall color in New England. All winter, the experts take measurements and make forecasts. Of course, we're talking about New England, which is a different area, of course. But she's talking about the area in Arizona. So what happens in Arizona? All winter, the experts take measurements and make forecasts. What does forecast mean? Predicting the weather, all right? Or foretelling the weather. This year, they predicted gold, but it's already gone platinum. So we discussed this in the previous video, that this is borrowed phrases or parrot comparison from the music industry. Gold is precious and good, but platinum is more precious, of course, and more valuable. So she's telling us that the blooming of the desert actually exceeded their expectation. It became much more than they expected. In a spot where you'd expect 100 flowers. So if you expect 100 flowers, we've got 1,000. So it's 10 times more than they have wished for, more than they have expected. More kinds than anybody alive has ever seen at once. Again, she's adding to the sense of rarity or speciality of this phenomenon. But these are annual flowers. Right, so this is a kind of conversation here. She is giving us a conversation here, and this conversation creates what? Creates an engaging tone. So instead of using this dry, rough, scientific tone, she's using this conversation to give us a tone that's engaging, that's more friendly and engaging. All right, so our non-biologist friend struggled, the one who asked or who was surprised what the fuss was about, of course. If they weren't there last year and this year they are, then who planted them? Aha. So these flowers weren't there last year, and you just said that it's once in a lifetime occasion, and it's a very rare occasion, and there are plants and flowers who you haven't, who a person might not have seen before. So where did they come from? Everybody wonders. Yeah. One of us, remember, us who? Scientists. What did he say? He blurted. He said it without thinking. God planted them. Of course, he was excited. God planted them. We glanced at each other nervously. A picturesque response, indeed, from scientifically trained types of people, because people in science believe in cause and effect, believe in scientific reasons. There should be a reason behind everything. So to relate all this, to be unable to explain this blooming phenomenon and relate it to a higher power is for people of science something which is awkward, although subhanallah everything is done by and arranged by Allah Azza wa Jal. But we're talking about people who study science in the West. It's a different culture, of course. So yet it seemed more compelling than any pedestrian lecture on life cycles and latency periods. What are latency period? Times when growth stops and pauses. As if she's telling us that some plants are so smart that they stay there, some seeds of course, of plants, they stay there lying in the desert, lying in the sand, lying even between rocks, and they wait for just the right time for them to grow and flower and bloom, of course. Okay, so where had they all come from? Where had all these plants? This is for non-scientific people. They cannot understand. They can't get their head around it. Had these seeds just been lying around? Yes, in the dirt. They have been waiting for the right time to flower, of course, and to grow. And how was it? How was it that at the behest of some higher power than the calendar? What do you think this higher power is? We're not talking about seasons. We're not talking about the climate here. We're not talking about the rain. We're talking about these plants waiting at the behest of some higher power. Of course, the power of God, because she said it before. God planted them. Okay, so all at once there came a crowd. Okay, we're going to have to stop here at this part here. This is the end of part 1 of this presentation, inshallah. In part 2, we're going to discuss and answer some questions together. Thank you for listening. Please don't go away and wait for the next part, inshallah. Have a quick read so that we discuss this in terms of questions and answers in part 2, inshallah.